Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're ditching the textbooks, right? We're going for real-world English.
I like it.
We're tuning into a casual conversation.
Okay.
From the Language Learning Podcast. Think of it as like a cultural exchange.
Yeah,
A chance to unlock the secrets hidden within everyday conversation.
exactly. Like, it's amazing how much we reveal about ourselves just like chatting.
Totally. Right away, the speaker mentions their love for Asian food, spicy, savory dishes. For you, what does that tell you about them?
Well, it tells me, most of all, they've got an adventurous palate.
Yeah.
But more than that, think about it. This is England we're talking about.
Right.
And, for a long time, English cuisine was associated with, well, let's just say not spice.
Yeah, bland.
Not known for being used.
Yeah.
But this love for bold flavors.
Mm.
It speaks to how multicultural England has become, how global cuisines are embraced and celebrated.
And isn't that reflected in the takeaway trends they mention? Like fish and chips are a classic,
Mhm.
but our speaker,
Mm.
all about that Thai and Vietnamese.
It's a fascinating glimpse into how food trends are evolving.
Yeah.
Even within a relatively small geographic area, you see this in major cities around the world.
Right.
Specific neighborhoods become hubs for certain cuisines. And it's not just about the food itself.
Right.
It's a reflection of immigration patterns, cultural fusion, changing tastes.
Okay, but we've got to address the elephant in the room. Even the most adventurous eaters sometimes crave comfort food. Case in point, the speaker's guilty pleasure, McDonald's Filet-O-Fish. What do you think?
And you know what? I love that they admitted that.
Right.
Because it just goes to show, right? Language learning. It isn't about achieving some kind of perfect, idealized version of a language.
Right.
It's about understanding how people actually speak,
Yeah.
how they express themselves,
Yeah.
even when it comes to their, shall we say, less sophisticated food choices.
Exactly. And speaking of expressing themselves, I kind of got a kick out of how the speaker talked about the weather.
Okay.
Sunshine is their favorite. Relatable.
Of course, yeah.
But it's how they talk about school holidays impacting travel plans that caught my ear. They use the phrase, tend to.
Which, for a language learner, is such a key phrase to master. Tend to.
Yeah.
It's a modal verb construction. Don't worry, we're not going full grammar nerd here.
Please no.
But essentially, it allows the speaker to express a general tendency, a habit,
Right.
without being overly specific. It makes them sound more natural, less robotic.
Yeah, it's like the difference between saying, I always go on vacation in July versus we tend to travel in the summer.
Yeah.
Subtle, but it changes the whole vibe.
Exactly. Softens the language.
Yeah.
Makes it more conversational.
Right.
And that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating, wouldn't you say?
Hi.
We're seeing these nuances in action, in their natural habitat, so to speak.
And speaking of expressing yourself, we also get a glimpse into the speaker's fashion choices.
Okay.
And I love how they blend high and low, like department stores, yes, but also smaller boutiques and even thrifting. It shows a real thoughtfulness about where their clothes come from, you know?
It's like they're curating a wardrobe,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say? Each piece telling a story, reflecting their personality and values.
Totally.
And, the speaker mentions how becoming a mom influenced their style.
Oh, yeah.
This really resonated with me. It's amazing how life changes.
Yeah.
They often lead us to reevaluate how we present ourselves to the world.
Absolutely. It's like our clothes become a way of communicating who we are, where we've been, and where we're going.
Right.
But let's be honest. These days, no conversation about self-expression is complete without mentioning the kind of digital elephant in the room, social media.
Right.
What do you think?
And it's fascinating how the speaker compartmentalizes their social media use.
Yeah.
Instagram for personal connections, LinkedIn for the professional sphere. It speaks to the increasingly multifaceted nature of these platforms.
It makes you think, is social media even a single entity anymore? Or is it a collection of different tools serving very specific purposes? It's kind of like how a physical toolbox might have a wrench for plumbing and a hammer for building. You wouldn't use a hammer to fix a leaky faucet, right? Maybe you would. I don't know. I wouldn't.
And, I think that's a great analogy because it highlights the importance of intentionality when it comes to social media.
Yeah.
Just like you wouldn't use any tool for any job, you wouldn't use every social media platform in the same way. And this is where things get really interesting, wouldn't you say?
Totally.
Because the speaker admits to spending a couple of hours a day on social media. And what does that tell us?
Well, for one, it tells us that they're human,
Yeah.
who hasn't gotten sucked into the scroll hole, right?
Right.
But on a more serious note, I think it speaks to the addictive nature of these platforms. Like, the algorithms are designed to keep us engaged, even if it's not necessarily making us happier or more fulfilled.
That's such a crucial point.
Yeah.
We often focus on the content itself.
Yeah.
But what's equally important is understanding the systems behind that content.
Right.
These platforms, they're designed to maximize engagement, often at the expense of our time, our attention, and even our mental well-being.
It's almost like we're handing over our attention, like it's a product.
Yeah.
And these platforms are packaging and selling it to, whoever's got the money.
Right, right.
But it's not all doom and gloom, is it?
No.
I mean, the speaker also talks about, they talk about the good parts of social media, like staying connected, discovering new ideas.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
It's like any tool, really.
Yeah.
A hammer can be used to build a house,
Yeah.
or it can be used to break something down.
Right.
It's all about how we choose to use it.
Yeah.
And with social media, that requires a certain level of, well, what do you call it? Media literacy.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. It's about being like a savvy consumer.
Right.
Of information, about understanding, like you said, those biases baked into these platforms, and being mindful of how much time and energy we're really investing.
Totally.
It's a lot, right?
It is. It is a lot.
When you think about it,
Yeah.
it reminds me of that saying, everything in moderation.
Right.
Maybe that's the key to, navigating this crazy digital age.
Yeah, finding that balance.
Finding that balance between connection and just overload. Right. Information and just noise.
Totally.
So from spicy food cravings to social media's complexities.
Right.
Who knew a simple conversation could be so revealing?
I know. It just goes to show that every interaction, even the most, everyday, mundane little chat,
Yeah.
is an opportunity for discovery.
Leaves us with a lot to think about.
It really does.
What hidden gems are tucked away in our own daily conversations just waiting to be found, right?
Exactly.
That's something to think about. Until next time, happy listening.